Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Pre-Game Chat. And today we're blessed to be able to have with us Brad Harris, who's the head football coach at Benton High School. Coach, welcome to the show.
Mike, I appreciate you having me on today.
Hey, I tell you what, we've got a great way to kick off the season, and it's become a fan favorite throughout the state, even if the fans aren't necessarily fans of Benton or Bryant or alumni of those schools. But it's just a very important game for the state overall, and that's our Salt Bowl. It's been a while since Benton has hosted that trophy, but I understand this year may be a chance. You got some guys that are ready to rock and roll.
Well, we hope so. It hasn't been. It's been a while since Benton has taken that trophy home, and started here in 2014. We were close in 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 actually. Excuse me. Excuse me. But since 19, 20, 21, we haven't played them very close, So we've got to do a better job of making it a more competitive ball game, and got to get back to where we keep everybody there and get excited about the rivalry and everything. Which Bryant is a really tough opponent. They've won 4 in a row in our Class 7A, and
Right.
just a really talented team. But we really enjoy the competition. We know where we're at when we get finished playing Bryant. They always tend to expose you in some places and areas that we work on and get better throughout the season. So it's a great game. It's a great way to start the season. There's a lot of excitement about the ball game. Whenever football season's over, everybody starts talking about Salt Bowl for the next year. So it's a big game in the area. Saline County really rallies around it. Got 2 big communities that come together and have a huge turnout for a great game at War Memorial.
Now, I know you're opposing Coach James, Buck James. He believes in the beef, especially up front on both sides of the ball. Benton may give him a little run for his money. I understand you guys set a record back in May. Talk about that.
Well, we feel like we've gotten better this last year in the weight room and gotten bigger and stronger. We've got 3 guys that started on our offensive line last year: Walker Davis, who is an ASU commit, Elijah Harris and Carter Sanders. Both are seniors that last year that played a lot lighter. They're probably Elijah's about 250 now, and Carter's about 265. And last year they played at 225 and 235. So they've gained some weight, gotten bigger. It's going to be easier or better for them to match up with Bryant's size up front.
Right.
Then we've got some good young kids that played a little bit last year. We've got junior Tanner Holden, who last year as a sophomore played at about 225, 30 pounds, and he's 265 now. We also have a senior Connor Morgan, who's about 265, and last year's about 250. And then we've got a couple of sophomore linemen, Parker Glaze, who plays right tackle, 6'4", 275. And then we have Jose Ortiz, who's a sophomore, that's about 6'1", 300. So we're going to be able to match their size a little bit better. We've had, like I said, a really good off season. We won the state weightlifting meet again for the 4th year in a row. So we got some big kids that are strong. We got some little kids that are strong, and that's the part of that we really like, is it gives the opportunity for our young kids that are little to compete. And it's exciting to see them compete in the off season. But this year we feel like we're going to have a chance to match up with them up front better than we have the last 3 years.
Now, you mentioned some of those young guys. What is it like in the locker room before you enter War Memorial Stadium for those guys who have never played in the Salt Bowl before? How do you kind of keep them calm and keep them from getting that anxiety?
Well, I don't know that you can completely get them ready for it, because it's a different ball game. I mean, you're going to go out and play. Even on a bad year, we're probably going to still be in front of about 20,000.
Yes.
The year that we had COVID in 2020, I think there was about 12,000 people there that night.
Mm-hmm.
And that was during COVID with limited tickets and things like that. So, I mean, it was it is a great atmosphere. Like I said, when I started here in 14. I can remember walking out of the tunnel on the visitor side and it being packed for pregame. I've coached for, this is my 25th year, and I've never experienced that going into 2014. And it almost gives you chill bumps, because you've got so much energy in the stadium. So I don't know that you can completely get those young guys ready for it. We talk to them about it weekly, or daily, really, through the Salt Bowl. And, you got to tune that out. The field's still the same size, the same width, the same length. Everything stays the same. You just got a lot of outside noise coming at you, So we try to tell them, hey, feed off that energy, use that energy in a positive manner. Try not to let it get to you too much, but we know that they're going to be a little big-eyed.
Now, are some of those players, the young ones, actually going to see some playing time as far as in their first Salt Bowl? Do you anticipate that?
Oh, definitely. I mentioned two offensive linemen that I just mentioned, Parker Glaze and Jose Ortiz. They'll definitely play. Parker will start at right tackle for us, and then Jose's kind of a rotation guy at either guard or tackle. So we'll see the field with them two guys. And then defensively, we got two sophomores, linebacker Walter Hicks, who will start for us. When you look at Walter, he don't look like a sophomore. He don't play like a sophomore. We just hope he can control the energy and the crowd, things like that, and play like he's capable of playing. He's a really talented kid. He's about 6 foot, 205 pounds, runs really well. He's one of our best linebackers as a sophomore. So he'll get his first Salt Bowl start as a sophomore. And then J. Thomas Pepper is going to start at one of our safety positions. Probably wouldn't have started, but we've had a couple of injuries already that has forced us to play some younger guys in the secondary. And Jay Thomas has done a really good job this summer and this fall camp and everything. But he's going to get his first taste of a big football game. As a starter as a sophomore this year. So, and then we've got some other kids that have been a part of the Salt Bowl that have never been a starter. They're going to make their first starts. So, but when you're starting 4 sophomores or 3 or 4 sophomores and in a big game like this, it's going to play have a little bit of effect on them.
Sure. And you mentioned some of the injuries, but this team in particular seems to have some athletes that can possibly fill in for some of those injured players. You've got guys who, when they're not playing football, they're involved in basketball, baseball, soccer, track. How is that helping you to manage that team and to compensate for some of those shortcomings when the player gets injured?
Well, we do. We have a lot of kids that play multiple sports. One of our kids is Jack Wilbur, who's competing for our quarterback spot. He's a baseball kid. Chris Bernard is our starting free safety. He runs track. We've got several kids that are track athletes, and Chris is a 110 hurdle guy. Jake Jones, our starting middle linebacker, has already committed to play baseball at UCA, and Jake's about 6 foot 230, and he's a pitcher. He takes that linebacker mentality to the mound, and so we got a lot of kids that play multiple sports, and we juggle that through the summer, let them play as much as they can, then also get them to football practice, but got a lot of kids that are two sport guys,
Now, you mentioned the quarterback situation. I don't know if you're ready to actually disclose who your starter is going to be, but I know you've got a transfer in Chandler that's supposed to be pretty salty there at the QB position, and some guys that ran the junior varsity in their past. So have you decided on the quarterback? Is that battle cemented yet?
Honestly, Mike, we are working 3 guys right now.
Right.
We're working Gary Rideout, who you mentioned. He moved into Benton in January from Little Rock Central. And then we have Klein Hooten, and Gary's a junior. And then we got Klein Hooten, who's a junior. And then we have Jack Wilbright, who's our senior. And those 3 guys have been working all summer, trying to battle for those varsity reps for us, Right now, we got Gary, who's kind of taking a little bit of a lead. We're probably leaning towards starting him in the ball game. But you can see Jack. You're going to see Jack Wilbright at some point, and you can see Klein Hooten also Saturday possibly. They just haven't really separated themselves a lot, and we're just going to kind of look at who's the leader right now and go with them early. And if he struggles a little bit, we go to the next guy, and whichever one's hot, who we'll probably ride with. To be honest with you, we haven't had a lot of separation through the summer with those guys that we had hoped to get out of somebody. It's just that they're all young quarterbacks. Jack's a senior, but he has never played in a varsity game really that was meaningful. He's played some mop-up row, and then last year he started as a corner for us all year because we had Strand Smith that was kind of our number one, and we didn't want to waste Jack's ability over there on offense. We wanted to get him on the field somehow. So, but we're letting him compete this year as a quarterback, and and giving him every opportunity, just like we are Gary and Clyde.
Now, one last aspect of the Salt Bowl that I'd like to discuss is with Benton really coming on, I anticipate the game to be close. And if that is the case, that kicking game is going to possibly make a difference. How's your kicking situation when it comes to distance and field goals?
Well, we've got Lucas Wilbur, who's a senior. He's a left-footed kicker. He kicked a little bit as a sophomore for us. Then last year handled all of our extra point field goal stuff. I think he was 6 of 7 last year with a long of like 38. But we feel pretty comfortable with him about 42 to 45. He's got a decent leg, and he's pretty accurate. So if we get into that range of the 25-yard line, we feel pretty confident that he's pretty consistent with that. The 30-yard line is going to push him just a little bit, when he starts to get 45 plus. But 42 yards, something like that, he's pretty consistent. Then we also have a sophomore kicker, Garrett Honeycutt, that's very similar to him. So we're very blessed at Benton right now to have 2 really quality kickers, and really like what Lucas Wilbur's done for us this year.
Well, Coach, any interview would not be complete unless the proverbial question was asked, what's the keys to Benton's victory?
Well, the biggest thing is, Mike, is we need to be able to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the football. That's something that they have dominated us the last couple of years as the game goes on, and we've got to be able to control it. We don't have to dominate it. We just need to be able to stay in there and grind with them. Their offensive line has been really, really good the last few years. They're starting some new guys up front this year, and we're bringing most of our defensive line back. So we really like that matchup in our box play. We've just got to be able to get in there and play 4 quarters against that offensive line. And then our offensive line really needs to control the tempo and be able to run the football with our big running back in Braylon Russell, and then ride out running the football some as a quarterback. Donovan Pearson, some of those guys that we've got at running back. So even Chris Bernard starts at safety, plays some running back. We've got to be able to control that line of scrimmage and be able to run the football against these guys where we haven't been able to do that the last couple of years.
Sure. Well, Coach, I do appreciate you giving us a snippet of your day, and wish your team all the best of luck and
yes, sir,
good health, and hope to talk to you again in the near future, Coach.
All right, Mike, thanks a lot for having me on, okay?
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.